truths that lie too deep for things. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the cess of war. Floods of men have blood, floods of men have blood, while no wounds were. I am the enemy you called my friend. I knew you in this dark, for saw you frowned yesterday through me as you jabbed and killed. I fought, but my hands were blue and cold. Let us speak now. As you see, the poem ends with 4 dots. Why 4 dots? Ma'ana, the speaker here in this poem, the speaker, the soldier, the speaking soldier is not finished, has not finished his speech. He still has something to say, but cannot because he's stopped. Okay, he's stopped by death and he cannot say more things. ولذلك the poem ends with 4 dots. What do we have here? We have a meeting which is strange. Why this meeting is called strange? Because we have a meeting between 2 soldiers who belong to the opposite camps. These 2 soldiers are enemies. So we have 2 soldiers who are in a state of confrontation. The poem is starts like a dramatic monologue. You have one soldier speaking, and then to another soldier, then the other soldier will answer him, and we have a kind of conversation between the 2 soldiers. Well, at the end of the poem, we know that the present soldier, the speaking soldier, has already killed the other soldier yesterday. Because the second soldier says to the first soldier that you killed me last night. I tried to protect myself, but I was too weak, too feeble, too fatigued to protect myself. You see? And at the end of the poem, both soldiers die. Both die. And then why is this meeting considered strange? Because it is a meeting between 2 enemy soldiers. 2 soldiers who belong to opposite armies, opposite sides, opposite camps. Let's read and see. Somebody read. Who can read, please?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
يلا مصطفى اقرأ لنا وبعدين عباس يكمل. يلا.
Okay.
It seemed that out of the battle I escaped, down some perfumed dull tunnel, long since scooped, through granites which titanic words had ruined.
Yes.
That also
the soldier is speaking here. What does he say? He said, it seemed that out of battle I escaped. He said, it seemed. Why it seemed? He's not sure, man. He's not sure. He's not certain about everything. In this chaos of war, in this confusion of war, in this darkness of war, soldiers are no longer sure or certain about anything. That's why the soldier says it seems that. It seems. He's not sure. But it seems that I have escaped from the battle and come to this tunnel. To this tunnel. This tunnel, the tunnel is something like a cave. And this tunnel, he says, is dark and cold. Profound dark tunnel. And it is a tunnel which is dark and bleak and cold. He escaped from the battle to this tunnel as a shelter, to provide himself with a shelter to protect him from the battlefield. Long since scooped through granites which titanic walls had grown. And this cave or tunnel was made by granites. Granites, طبعا, is a kind of rocks, very hard rocks, Then this tunnel was made by granites, hard granites, which were destructed, ground, destructed by titanic wars. See the point here. And this means that humanity has always been in a state of war. Humanity has always fought. We always have wars. Since the ancient times we have wars. People were fighting each other, were killing each other. This spirit of hatred and spirit of competition was there since Adam and Eve to the present time. And then what is the result? The result is this soldier had escaped into this tunnel to protect a shelter for himself. Notice that we don't have idealism or romanticism of war here. We no longer have a kind of romanticization or idealization of war here at all. Why? Because the soldier is not looked at as a hero who pays his life for a certain ideal or a certain cause. The soldier here is shown as a escapee. The soldier in this poem appears as an escapee. You know, escapee? Escapee, yani deserter. You know, deserter or escapee, yani somebody who escapes from the battlefield. This is considered shameful. Here the soldier doesn't have idea. All what he wants is to protect himself from the war. He is not thinking about glory or martyrdom or heroism, because he doesn't have an idea or romantic attitude to war. Now,
Yet also there is encumbered the sleeper's groan, too fast in thought or death to be histored. Then, as I probed them, one sprang up and started, with piteous recognition in fixed eyes, lifting distressful hands, as if to bless.
Yes.
And by
when the soldier, Mustafa, when the soldier entered the cave, what did he find in front of, at the beginning of the cave, at the entrance of the cave? What did he find? He find other soldiers who are lying on the floor. They are lying on the floor. We are not sure whether they are dead or asleep. There are a lot of soldiers, he says, who are lying on the floor. How are they lying? They are heaped, they are heaped together, one over the other. And and to enter into the cave, he had to step over them. He had to tread on them. But although I tread on them, nobody moved. Nobody of these soldiers moved. Then maybe these soldiers are either dead, either these soldiers are dead and didn't feel him, or they are too absorbed in thought. They are thoughtful. They are too lost in thought to notice him. They are shocked by the agony of war. Or they are too lost in thought to notice him. Then nobody moved when he stepped over them. Then as I probed them, as I probed them, and when I examined them carefully, when I looked at them carefully, one sprang up and stirred. One of these soldiers jumped at him and looked at him, started from his sleep and looked at him. Why? With piteous recognition in fixed eyes. What does this mean, with piteous recognition in fixed eyes? What does this mean? Any idea? Why did this soldier, the second soldier, start and look at him?
Because he saw him before. He stared on him, so he can't recognize him.
Very good, exactly, excellent. This second soldier knew the first soldier. There is a recognition in his eyes. معناها شنو recognition؟ معناها he knows him. He has seen him before. He knows him. ولذلك he looks at him with painful recognition. It's painful. Lifting distressful hands as if to bless. When he saw him, the second soldier lifted his hand his tired hands, his fatigued hands, as if he was trying to bless him. I don't know whether he was trying to bless me or he was trying to defend himself. He thought that I will kill him, and he lifted his hands to defend himself, to protect himself, or to beseech me, to beg me not to kill him. I don't know whether he was begging me not to kill him, he was blessing me, or he was just protecting himself from me. Lifting the stressful hands as if to bless, and by his smile I knew that's sullen hole. By his dead smile I knew we stood in hell. When I looked at his face, at the face and the eyes of the second soldier, I knew, I was able to know that what kind of cave, what kind of we are in. It is hell, he says. It is hell, real hell. Why his dead smile? Because of the dead smile in his face, in his eyes, I knew that we were standing in hell. We were standing in hell. ولاحظ شلون how he writes the word hell. He writes the word hell with capital H. معناها this is a reference to real hell. What does this mean? Does this mean that the two soldiers are dead? That both the first soldier and the second soldier are actually dead? And where do they meet? They meet in hell. Clear? And they die in war. Both of them die in war, and both of them go to hell, not to paradise. They go to hell. And then what is the point behind this war? When the enemy and the friend both go to hell. When the killer and the killed one. The killer and the killed one. They both go to hell. Both sides go to hell. And then there is no point behind this war, man. There is no moral cause behind this war. This is a war which is silly, which is foolish, which is absurd. And there is no moral cause behind this war. Come on, the reference here is to which war? Which war are we referring to here?
World War One.
World War One. World War One. First World War, limited 1914. You know what kind of war was that? Yes, Mustafa, go on.
Oh, that's
Thousand-
Let me go on, Mustafa.
Yes.
Exactly so. With 1,000 fears, that vision's face was great. Yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no gun stump or down the flues made moan. Strange friend, I said, there is no cause to mourn. None said that others, save the undone years. The hopelessness, whatever hope is yours, was my life also. I went hunting wild.
Okay, يا مصطفى خلينا نعلق على هذا. With 1,000 pain, that vision's face was grained. Yani that face, the face of that man, the other man, was full of pains, full of fears, full of pains, thousands of pains and fears were grained at his face. Yet no blood reached there, but he was not bloody. He was dying without blood, not bloody. Why? Why is he dying without blood? Without wounds? Then why is this soldier dying? Because, dear students, we have here, it seems that we have here a gas attack. You know gases, a kind of a technique of war. And one technique that was used in the First World War was to use the gases. So in case of the gases, soldier will die without wounds, without blood. You see the idea here? وطبعا the gases cannot be insured. Yani it is not sure, those who launch the gases cannot be sure that these gases will not hurt them. They cannot have a full control on the gases. And the gases maybe will kill both sides, even those who launched it. Yet no blood reached there from the upper ground. We can no longer hear the sounds of the guns. Now in this tunnel we are far away from the battlefield, we are safe. We can no longer hear the sounds of the guns. We can no longer hear the weeping of the lutes or the flutes. The flutes or the moaning of the flutes. The moaning of the flutes is a symbol or a reference to the sound of the machine guns. The sound of the machine guns or the shells when they fall in the battlefield is like a sad moaning flute, like sad music. No longer can hear this. Okay, strange friend, I said. Strange friend, I said. The first soldier talked to the second soldier. What did he call him? Strange friend. Why does he call him strange friend? Because he's enemy. He's enemy to him. He's the enemy. He is his enemy. That's strange friend. How can he be both enemy and a friend? We have a paradox here. This is the paradox of war. This is a war in which we can no longer tell friend from foe. We can no longer discriminate a friend, your friend, from your enemy. It is a chaos, a big chaos in fact. Strange friend, I said, there is no cause to mourn. What does he say to him? Here is no cause to mourn. There is no need to feel sorry, my friend. There is no need to feel sorry. There is no need to mourn. There is no need to lament. There is no need to regret. There is nothing to regret or to feel sorry about or to lament. The other soldiers answers him. What does he say to him? None. No, none. يعني شنو none? I agree with you. There is no cause to mourn here. There is nothing to feel sorry about. Said the soldier. Save the undone years. Save the undone years. What does he mean by save here? Save means what? It means what here?
Your past life in the life.
لا save صحيح.
Save the
means
future.
accept. Very good. Accept. Save means accept. يعني إذا تقول مثلا all the students came save أحمد مثلا. شنو معناها هنا؟ معناها all the students came except أحمد. The save معناها accept. واضح؟ So what does the soldier say? Save the undone. There is only one thing to feel sorry about. اللي هو شنو؟ The undone years. What's meant by the undone years? يعني the years that we will not live. Notice these two soldiers, they died young, very young. They died at the bloom of youth. So there are many years. They have many years to live. Had they lived, they will have many years to enjoy and to live. I feel sorry for this only, second soldier. I feel sorry for the many years which we have and which we have not yet lived and which we will never live because we are dead here. No, it is a big waste to lose for such young men to be driven to the massacre of war like cattle. Hundreds of thousands of men, of young men, are driven to the massacre of the First World War like cattle, like sheep, to be killed for nothing. I feel sorry only for this. The hopelessness. This is the only thing I feel sorry about. Whatever hope is yours was my life also. I went hunting wild. When I joined this war, I had the same kind of hope from this war that you had. I joined this war for the same reason which made you join this war. Join it. And both of us, they were hopeful that we'll get glory and beauty from this war. They were deceived, man, dear students. These two soldiers were deceived because they thought that war is an occasion to get glory and to get beauty. But now they discover that there is nothing beautiful in war. That war is not a matter of glory and beauty. But war is associated only with agony, with grief, with blood, with misery. Now, Mustafa.
Yes. After the wildest beauty in the world, which lies not calm in eyes or braided hair, but mocks the steady running of the owl. And if it grieves richlier than her. For my glee, many men have blood, and of my weeping something had been left, which must die now. I need the truth untold, the pity of war, distill.
Yes.
Now, man.
Okay, let us comment on this. After I went running, when I joined this tour, I was hunting beauty. I was searching for beauty. But what kind of beauty? Not the real beauty or the ordinary beauty or the natural beauty. And beauty which is connected with the beautiful eyes and beautiful hair. No? But I was running after the beauty of war. No? I was hunting for a wild beauty, a natural beauty, which is the beauty and the glory of war. But I discovered that there is nothing beautiful and glorious in war. And if it grieves richly than here. And the pain is more great now. What makes me more sorry, what is more grief here, what saddens me more here, what hurts me more here, is what? That by my glee might many have laughed. That if I lived longer, if I was not killed in the war, I would have made many men happy. Had I lived longer, I would have made many people happy. Who are those people? The people whom I love and who love me. My friends, my lovers, my family. They would have been happy because of me. But because I die now, they all will feel sorry and will be sad. So my death has caused them misery and sadness. For by my glee many men have laughed, and of my weeping something had been left, which must die now. There is one thing which I have not told you, and I must say it now. There is one more grief. There is one more thing which grieves me, which hurts me, which gives me grief and agony and devotion. I mean the truth and told. There is the truth of war which nobody has told before. I must tell this truth. What is this truth? The pity of war. Pity, war, this time. And then this is the truth of war. War is a matter of pity. And nobody before told this truth. But now before I die, I have to tell the truth before I leave. That war is nothing but pity, is nothing but misery, but bloodshed, but hatred. No man, yes, go on.
Now man will go content with what we spoil or disappoint, boil bloody and be spilled. They will be swift, the swiftness of the tigers. None will break ranks, thou nation tracked from progress.
Okay, now we will die, both of us. And the people who remain after us, the other people who remain alive after us, will try to judge us. That's true. And maybe some of them will be content with what we have done, will be happy with what we have done. Others maybe will be discontent, will not be happy for what we have done. Some other people maybe will consider us as heroes. Others will consider us as victims, maybe. No? What is the benefit then? What is the benefit of this death? Yes, Abbas. Courage was mine. Read, please.
Courage was mine, and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine, and I had mastery. To miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not walled. Then when much blood had flowed, there chariot wheels. I would go up and watch them from sweet wells, even with truth that lied too deep or taint. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the seas of war. Foreheads of man have bled where no wounds were.
Yes, what do we have here? Courage was mine and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine and I had mastery. Yeah, the second soldier is still speaking. What does he say? He says, I have all the necessary courage and I have all the necessary wisdom which could have made me avoid being part of this war. And if I use my wisdom and my courage, the courage and wisdom I had, I could have avoided this war. I could have not made myself a part of this ugly war. No? I was ready to do anything to prevent this war. I was ready to do anything to prevent this war, but I didn't do anything. That has shown. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the cess of war. I would have done anything to provide this cess. What does he consider war? What is war to him? To him, war is a kind of cess. What do you mean by cess?
Tax.
A horrible image.
It's a horrible image of what? Cess means a ditch of filthy water, sewage water. شلون؟ نسميها cess. يعني it is a ditch which is full of filthy sewage water. This is war. Then this is his attitude to war. War is not glorious, is not occasion for heroism or glory or idealism. War is a kind of cess. No more. Foreheads of men have bled where no wounds were. In this war, foreheads of men bleed without wounds. Why does he say that men's forehead bleed without wounds?
Because of the gas?
Gases, exactly. We have gases, and we don't have machine guns, but rather we have gases. Like men here are dying without wounds, without being shot with the machine guns. They are dying of the gases. It is a horrible war. It is a Holocaust, in fact. Really. Go on.
I am the enemy you killed, my friend. I know you in this dark, for so you frown. Yesterday, through me as you jabbed and killed, I buried, but my hands were loaded and cold. Let us sleep now.
Yes, this is the end then. He says to him, I am the enemy you killed, my friend. And then the second soldier says to the first soldier, I am the enemy you killed, my friend. إذا شلون enemy وشلون friend. معناها we have paradox here. Paradox. This is war. War is the kind of paradox. In such a war, in such gas attack, you can no longer tell your friend from your enemy. What does he say to him here? I am the enemy you killed, my friend. I am the person you killed last night. I can recognize you, he said to him. I knew you in this dark. Although it is very dark, but I can remember your face. I knew you in this dark. Because this is the way you frowned at me. This is the way you frowned. You looked at me last night. This is the way you jabbed and killed me last night. I parried and I tried to protect myself, but my hands were too cold and too tired, too fatigued, too lost. I couldn't protect myself. And you killed me last night, and now you yourself is going to die with me. You see the point here? So let us sleep together now, because they will die, both die. See the point here? Both of them die in the same tunnel, in the same cave, because of the same war and the same gas attack. The enemy and the friend both are killed by one war. وتنتهي the poem ends with 4 dots. معناها they have not yet finished. The soldier has not yet finished what he wants to say. There are more things which he needs to say, but his life is over. He's stopped by death here. Yes, this is the poem, don't strange me. It is strange, the meeting is strange because of this. There are many possible ways through which this poem can be interpreted. We said we have 2 soldiers. Now, either what do these 2 soldiers meet? Either these 2 soldiers meet in the battle, and in a kind of tunnel, because they escape from the battle. And now we have 2 soldiers, or they are meeting in hell. This is the second interpretation. They are meeting in hell, and now both are killed, both die because of war, and both go to hell. If they both go to hell, the killer and the killed one, there is no cause behind this war. There is no moral cause. There is no point. There is no reason behind this war. The point here. The second interpretation. The third interpretation, the third possible interpretation is that we don't have 2 soldiers in the poem. We have 1 soldier, and he is speaking to himself. We have 1 soldier who meets his other ego. We have a confrontation between the 2 selves, or the 2 egos, the 2 selves of the same soldier. And he is in a state of self-assessment, self-evaluation, self-confrontation. معناها شنو؟ إنه the present self of the soldier, the present self of the soldier killed his previous self. واضح هذا this third possibility?
Yes, sir.
The present self of the soldier has killed his previous self. Which self killed which? Which killed which? The present realistic self, which knows the reality of war, the disillusioned self, which knows the reality of war, has killed the previous self, the romantic self, the idealist self, which looks at war as glory. تلاحظ شلون؟ in the past this soldier was deceived by war. He looked at war as something glorious and beautiful. But now he has known the reality, the truth. Where his previous self dies because it is killed by his present self, by his present realization, by his disillusioned self. واضح, dear student?
Yes. This mean
Yes.
narrative or the narrator or the poet or the soldier himself, anti-war, anti-romanticism of the war.
No, exactly. And Wilfred Owen was anti-war poet. He rejected war. He was an officer, قلت لك إنه he was an officer and he was killed in the war, but he did not like war, and he did not join war out of moral conviction. Maybe at the beginning he was deceived. At the beginning, when he was very young and he joined the war, he was deceived by his glorious romantic self. But when he was involved in the war, he knew the truth about war. ولذلك أقول لك إنه what we have in this poem is a kind of self-disillusionment. He is in a state of self-disillusionment. He knows the truth, but it is too late because he is killed now. So his present self kills his previous. Well, dear students, any questions so far?
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I want you to pay attention to the kind of rhyme which is used in this poem. The kind of rhyme used in this poem is something which we call, I'll write it to you.
Half rhyme.
Para rhyme, yes, para rhyme. It's written this way. Para paradigm. اوكي هسه رسلت لكم اياها تشيكوها. paradigm واضح؟ هذه paradigm. What do you mean by paradigm? paradigm يعني incomplete rhyme أو imperfect rhyme. Why does he use imperfect rhyme or incomplete rhyme? He uses it in order to reflect the disorder, the chaos, the shapelessness, the confusion of war, the ugliness of war. Because if he uses the perfect rhyme or the complete rhyme, this maybe will give the impression of harmony, of beauty, of musicality. But he doesn't do this. Rather, he uses paradigm to give the sense of chaos, sense of ugliness, sense of discordance. لاحظ. خلنا ناخذ أمثلة على البرايم. If you go to your text, go to the beginning of the poem. عندنا مثلا خلينا نشرح شنو البرايم. برايم معناها imperfect rhyme. شلون imperfect? The last consonants in a paradigm, the last consonants are the same. But the preceding vowels are different. ببساطة هو هذا البرايم. The final consonants are the same, but the vowels before them are what? Are different. Clear what we mean by the paradigm?
Yes.
خلينا ناخذ
Thanks, all
عندك
on.
مثلا بالبداية نعم escaped and scooped. escaped and scooped. شنو الكونسونانس النهائية final consonants in these two words? escaped and scooped. شنو الكونسونانس؟ ت وبعد ت هاي الايدي هنا طلاب الايدي هنا ما تقرا ايده ولا د. ايش تقرا الايدي هنا؟ تنقرا ت فاذا هي escaped وسكوبت. معناها الفاينل كونسونانس هن بيت escaped بيت. الفاولز اللي قبلهم شنو؟ كلمة escaped الفاول هو A. escaped A. الحين بالكلمة الثانية scooped ooped. إذن A O. هذا perfect rhyme. Final consonant the same, previous consonants are different. واضح؟ أمثلة أخرى عندنا كلمة groined and ground. groined and ground. Final consonant هو J. الحين الفاول قبلهم هو groined, oined. الحين الثانية هي owned. oin وown. لاحظ؟ بعدين عندنا هواية أمثلة stirred وstarred. eyes وbliss. whole وهال. هذا whole وهال كلش واضح. الفاينل هو ال consonants. اللي قبل الفاول هو الأولى whole o وهال a. o a. في حين الكونسونانس هو L نفس الشيء. واضح المثال؟ ناخذ بعد أمثلة مثلا عندنا grain وground. grain وground اثنيناتهم ينتهون بالدي كونسونانس بس grain الفاول اللي قبل الدي شنو هو A grain. اثنيناتهم ينتهون عندي كونسونانس اثنين يعني عندي. الفاول اللي قبلهم بالأولى ب A وبالثانية أو أو grained ground. واضح؟ ونمشي نستمر عندنا مثلا moan ومون. consonants اثنين الفاول O moan و O moan. الدفثونج O بالأولى والبيور فاول O بالثانية. moan ومون. واضح؟ عندنا بعد هواية أمثلة years وyours. wild وworld. heard وhour وhear. ثلاث laughed left. and for distilled. spoiled spelled. إلى آخره. كلها هاي أمثلة على imperfect rhyme. واضح imperfect rhyme why he uses it?
Yes.
Yes, very clear.
نعم. Do you have any question about strength meeting, please? Before we say goodbye to Awal Firdawn.
Yeah, let's say goodbye to Robert Brooks. I mean to Owen.
Owen, yes, leave Owen aside. Let us leave him in peace, in rest, because he's dead. And Wilfred Owen was killed later on by war. After he wrote this poem, he was killed actually by the same war. يبقى عندنا روبرت بروكس السولجر و ستولفورد راين فور إيديث ستوال. واضح؟ I'd like you to read Robert Brooks the Soldier. And Robert Brooks the Soldier is a very short poem. كلش قصيرة. يعني get the title, get the text from the internet if you don't have it. بس اكتب Robert Brooks the Soldier راح تطلع لك. هي سونت كلش قصيرة. سونت يعني 14 lines فقط. اقراها. بس المهم انه احنا نحاول نفهم the difference between Robert Brooks the Soldier و Wilfred Owen Strength Meeting. راح تشوفون انه بينما in Wilfred Owen Strength Meeting we don't have glory and idealism or romanticization. All what we have is a realistic depiction of war as miserable and as ugly. ببروكس the Soldier راح نشوف العكس. Robert Brooks the Soldier sees war in ideal romantic terms. يعني in the Soldier we have Robert Brooks the Soldier we have a romanticization and idealization of war. Not only idealization and romanticization, but even imperialism, a spirit of imperialism, romanticism and idealization. هذا وين في روبرت بروكس السولجر. يعني تعرف أنه إنجلترا, England, the United Kingdom of Britain, in the First World War, it was a superpower. England was the greatest empire in the world before the rise of the United States of America, the rise of the Soviet Union, Germany وفرنسا. قبل هذا منو كان السوبر باور الوحيدة بالعالم؟ The first super power was England, the United Kingdom. See the point? فلذلك في روبرت بروكس السولجر we have this spirit of imperialism, British imperialism, this spirit of romanticization and idealization of war by Robert Brooks. يعني Robert Brooks, although he is a soldier or a war soldier, poet, but he looked at war in ideal romantic terms. واضح? I'm sorry, I will stop here today. I will not go on. I beg your pardon for stopping here, quitting the session here. For some sort of commitment I have. And next week راح ناخذ روبرت بروكس السولجر فقط السولجر روبرت بروكس اللي هي كلش قصيرة نخلصها إن شاء الله في ربع ساعة وبعدين نتحول إلى الأورال إكزامينيشن. طلاب كل واحد ما امتحن عندكم فرصة على الأسبوع الجاي راح أخصص وقت المحاضرة. معظم وقت المحاضرة راح يتخصص للأورال إكزامينيشن. واضح؟ والأسبوع اللي بعده إن شاء الله يبقى عندنا الأسبوع اللي بعده ناخذ السيلف بروزرين ونتوقف ما عندنا بعد. Any question before we leave?
يستطيع اليوم ما نمتحن أسبوع الجاي؟
والله ما أعتقد نمتحن. أعطوني أسماءكم تلجون تمتحنون الأسبوع الجاي نمتحن.
اوكي استاذ بلش زحمه سؤال يعني ماده الامتحان لان الاسبوع الجاي امتحاناتنا ف4 قصائد بس يعني بس الاسي مال